Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to my basement. This is where I will be tinkering with stuff and building things here and there. I'm going to be doing a series of videos called Filzys Workbench. Basically, I will be sharing stuff I use, stuff I build in this hobby of plastic model kit making. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this. Right now, I'm still in the process of getting everything taken care of. I still got some books over there in bins, but I did get my kits put up on a couple of shelves. I just got to get a new desk and hopefully some bookshelves where you're going to see some of my built kits as I go along, hopefully behind me. And as I said before, this is where I build, and this is my new area. So anyway, my name's Philip, and like I said before, I'll be sharing what I'm working on, and right now, I actually got something I'm working on right now. This is from Hasegawa. This is the A6M1 Zero kit. Now, before I start getting anything, I'll give you a brief history on the Zero. The Zero was a Japanese World War II fighter that was from the opening stages of the Pacific Theater to the end. And it was one of the better. It was one of those recognizable fighters that was built by Mitsubishi, as well as Nakajima. Nakajima actually helped keep production going during World War II for the Japanese. And it was a good fighter. Its strengths were it had some good firepower, but its weaknesses was it didn't have very good armor, and it blew up real good. It couldn't take punishment like the Hellcat or the Corsair could during the course of World War II, and it was but in the hands of a good pilot, you could outmaneuver and outflank any of the modern fighters if you knew what you were doing. And that gives you a brief history. I'll be talking about more of the history as it goes. As for the kit I got, the Hasegawa kit, this one here, Hasegawa, during the mid-2000s, 2005, 2006, they released a box set of the entire A6M Zero line. We're talking from the A6M1 all the way to the A6M8. Now, before they did this box set, they actually they started releasing the whole series of all new A6M Zero kits for it back in the 90s. And these were a step up from the older Zero kits that were available, like the RE, the old Monogram, even the old Tamiya kits. And even though they were good, they still had their faults. So Hasegawa came out with these, and they were for their time during the 90s, they were very, very good. And they all share common parts like fuel tanks, landing gear, and the like. But you can build, which leads to the box set I was talking about, which is not a cheap set. You could build all the variants depending on which versions that you pick up. And I do recommend keeping the parts. And the A6M1, it's no different. Matter of fact, we'll just talk about this. I just started this up about over the weekend, so I'm not going to show you each and every little sprue, but I'm going to give you a quick idea of what I'm working on. Now, the first one I'm started up, as I was saying, the kit itself. As I said, this is the mother of all Zeros. This is the one that started it. And this kit is very unique in all aspects, because it's not, like I said, this came out later, like when the box set was released, and which is kind of unusual because you figured they would have came out with this first instead of coming out with the 2, the 3, and the 5. But those were more like test runs, see how popular they were. Well, anyway, back to currently, and they finally started releasing all the variants in individual boxes instead of the box set. And I'm really glad they did, because I want to build the entire line, and I know finding the box set was going to be impossible. Because, one, there's 15 kits, so that's not going to be cheap to begin with, especially considering import tariffs and the like, and the quality of the kits. So they're not going to be cheap to begin with. 2, even if you could find a box set, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, because they only made a limited run. And 3, it's Hasegawa. Hasegawa makes good kits. Anyway, so let's get back to what I'm working on. Now, the A6M1, this issue is actually pretty cool. Right now, I'm building prototype number 2. And, let me see, what makes this one unique is the separate parts that provided. Like I said before, it gives you the option of building the first prototype or the second prototype. And there was some noticeable changes between versions, apparently. From what I've read and from what I've seen in the kit itself. And surprisingly, there isn't hardly any pictures of the prototype Zero. So I'm kind of flying blind in the dark here, if I'm lucky. But fortunately, Hasegawa probably knows something I don't, so I'm going to have to follow the instructions. Anyway, so you could build one or two versions of the A6M1, or one or two prototypes, and I'm building prototype number 2. This is actually for the first prototype. This is the scoop. Here's part of the cowling. However, which is a little underwhelming, I'm building the second prototype, so this is actually the cowling right here for the part where you put. This is blank, and this is actually extended right here. Otherwise, and the other parts provided to make the unique prototype is the two-bladed propeller, because as you already know, most Zeros have 3 props. I shouldn't say 3 props, 3-bladed propeller. And this one is unique because actually you got the main piece, which is your prop. You also have looks like 2 weights or whatever, or attachment points, and these you have to glue on. And you can tell I'm already worked on it. Black behind, silver, aluminum. Now, also another thing provided with the A6M1 prototype is the engine. Now, if you have your research and you know about the Zero kit, or say the Zero itself, it was mostly used the Sakai engine, which was built by Nakajima, it was the 12, the 21, or the 31, I don't remember offhand. This one, though, has the Zusei, I think I pronounced it right, I'm not sure, 13 engine. This is 1 row of cylinders, 2nd row of cylinders. I think this is the gearbox in my hand here. And this is for lines, and this is for the rear end of the engine. It's actually a completely different engine. And it goes together surprisingly well. Now, as for the rest of the kit, along with the extra sprue I showed you, different tail fins, everything else is still the same. If you've built any of Hasegawa's A6M Zero kits, like the 2 and the 3, I followed it. I also did a little bit of research on the internet and did certain things, like I filled in certain spots of the wing. Of course, as you tell, when I did this, I actually had to glue this in its place for the whole section, since I'm building prototype number 2. And that wing, by the way, is also used for the A6M2 and the 3 Type 22, which is also the Hasegawa kit. Here's the fuselage right here. This is for the earlier Zero variants, the Type 11, 21, and I think 32. The same goes for the cockpit. And matter of fact, as for all the Zero kits from Hasegawa, the detail's actually very good. If you don't feel that the detail's good enough, you can always get aftermarket parts. You can always get photo etch from Edward. They do make photo etch parts, which really spruce out the kit. You can always get an aftermarket cockpit or any aftermarket items. Personally, I'm just going to build this right out of the box. And matter of fact, here's some of the detail I'm using. The paints I used for the cockpit is actually from AK Interactive. This is the floor. These are the sidewalls. Sidewall number 1, sidewall number 2. Okay, yes, I had some parts upside down, but I don't care. Anyway, I'm just showing you to give you an idea of what I'm building right now. And AK Interactive, they make a World War II Imperial Japanese Navy paint set, which I'll explain in a future video. Much like how this series is going to go, I'm going to be explaining in future videos. It's your typical Hasegawa. The instructions, typical Hasegawa fashion. Gives you a quick blurb. This shows you the art, shows you Japanese, English, and instructions, of course. There's your paint guide. And it's your typical gatefold, and it provides what parts go where, and it tells you the numbers. They also give you a set of numbers, which are in black and white. If you could spot here, these are actually call-outs for a certain brand of paint from GSI Krios in Japan. You have your choice. You can use either Gunsangyo's Mr. Color, which is an acrylic lacquer synthetic. Is an interesting paint. Never used them. Or if you're more comfortable, you can use acrylics, which they also have Gunsangyo acrylic paints. Now, I use acrylic paint, so, and I did my research on these, so I'm not going to be using a Go Sanyo. I said before, I'll be using AK Interactive, I'll be using Tamiya, and whatever else with the proper research. Or you can mix your own paints. Most people do. Decals are actually printed by a Cartograph this time around. Usually Hasegawa print their own, and you got to be careful with them. Colors are a little bright, but this is the first prototype. This isn't a production model, so you can tell, but they're well printed. And I'm hoping they'll go on well since Cartograph handled them. And matter of fact, this was printed in 2008. Gives you not this. So otherwise, the rest of the kit is well done. It's beautiful. I'm hoping things come out look really good. Now, as for the research I'm doing, what I'm doing with this, I actually did a little bit of research. Cockpit itself, since it's built by Mitsubishi, that green I showed you in here, it's actually Mitsubishi interior green from the AK Interactive line. You can tell it looks more like a little bit more like the the interior green or green zinc chromate that they used from the now defunct Polyscale line. It looks along those colors, so, but a little more yellow. So what I would recommend doing is find an interior green, throw a little yellow, maybe a little black in there. If you're not sure, get that matched closely. Now, as for the overall, the exterior, the airframe itself, according to what I've read in the books, I got a couple books. There's one somewhere I'm still going to find in the stash, as you can tell here. The aircraft was painted in a shiny ash green or something along those lines. I can't remember the words exact, but it's supposedly an ash green, and which I'm gonna think it's a gray green that was was sprayed on the Zeros in the early stages of the war. Matter of fact, I will drag that out. Yeah, here it is. I'm gonna assume it's this from Tamiya because they actually made this when Tamiya released their new Zero kits for the earlier variants. So I'll be using this. I'm going to assume it's that. Well, however, I could be wrong. Long story short, we'll get into Japanese aircraft colors or Zero colors sometime down the road. But as for the rest of the kit itself, it's a beautiful kit. Matter of fact, I painted some of the parts in here so far, and I just started on this, and I'm hoping to get this done by a certain time. But first I gotta get some shelves. Anyway, so back to this. As for the cowling itself, typical blue-black, from Mitsubishi. I got that in the AK Interactive line. So I'll be using a variety of colors, more or less. I'm not gonna be down here all the time, but every time I get everything up to speed, I'll be doing an update on this, as well as talking about anything pertaining to the hobby, products I use. As I mentioned before, I apologize for repeating myself. It's been a while since I've done a video, so I used to do this videos for entertaining as a captive audience. Now I'm going worldwide, so please forgive me. I'm still learning everything here and there. But as for the kit itself, if you can find one of these, you can order these from Amazon, or if you find it on eBay, I really do give it a shot, especially if you want to build an entire Zero line. This is going to be the first of many I will be building. Matter of fact, I got a whole shelf dedicated to the Zero top on that shelf I got right now. This is about it, what I got. And I'm hoping to make many more of these, and I'm hoping to share with everybody here. So, from where I am to the rest of you guys, happy modeling. Take it easy. You got any questions you want? If I have something on my shelf that you're interested in wanting me to share with you guys, I will. So, happy modeling, take it easy guys, and sorry for repeating myself, and I will talk to you again soon, folks.